All right, and thanks for joining us, everyone. My name is Zach Allison with ATS. You can see my handy dandy picture on there, but with me today is Rebecca Perilero, the director of our customer experience, which means she really manages a lot of the new feature and development and building right from the foundation up of our spec tools. So we're happy to have her today. We are going through, I guess first and foremost, a couple of pieces of housekeeping. You might have been on and already heard me say this, but all of our ATS University sessions are recorded to go into our ATS University portion of our site so that you can reference this after the fact. Or if there's anyone on your team that maybe missed today, they'll be able to access the recording. So we do have everyone muted upon entry. But we'll keep an eye on the chat and QA field. So if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to bring them up. We'll try to mix them into the appropriate section. There might be some portions that I go through a little bit quickly today because there's a lot to cover. There's a lot that goes into designing a long-term care facility. We brought up this topic because it has been a hot topic, really, I would say, for the last year, but especially in the last, it was really Q4 last year that it seemed to spike. But it's been very consistent over the last couple of years as well. There's a lot of questions that should go into your product selection here. So we're going to try to outline some of the different thoughts because there's a lot of different ways that can go. So we're going to try to deep dive on some of the products that fit and the options that are available, as well as the options that ATS suggests. Many of the recommendations that we'll go through today, they've been derived from our original application guide, if we want to call it that, the ATS manual that was built by Lou Petro, which was all about recommending the right product for the right application. And that's gone into a new feature that Rebecca is going to intro a little bit today. And we're going to have a deeper dive on, I think, next week on our next ATS University. Which is our ATS templates and how you can take our ATS templates, customize them to be an ATS master on your account so that all you have to do is copy and paste and you can have an intro presentation ready for your owner group in a matter of minutes. So we'll walk you through that at the end. But to get started, we are going to, there we go. We're going to cover the applications within the project. So we're going to break it down into a few different areas. Really throughout the presentation, we'll go over the barrier-free options. There'll be a lot of discussion on touchless solutions as well as the manual and where and when one may be more appropriate. And of course, accessible solutions, which is not always the same as barrier-free. Sometimes our barrier-free guidelines may be call it the intro, the bare minimum that we have to meet. But there's opportunities for us to go above and beyond, which in the area of long-term care can help you or help your owner group differentiate themselves from the competitors in the space. This, like anything, there's private practices there. There's different owner groups that have different ways that they are positioning themselves in the market. So this will help you think of how an owner group wants to position themselves and some of the products that might be more appropriate for a higher end versus a more functional baseline driven space. So let's start at the core, the area where users will interact the most. Close that. And that would be our patient areas. So the first question that we always ask when someone sends us a patient room toilet request is what type of operation they're looking for. We do find there's a regular battle between efficiency and reliability, as well as providing the user something that feels a little bit more like home. So if the owner group wants to provide tank type to get them more residential feel, we want to see the most reliable flush possible. So we would be looking at a variety of products that have 1,000 map test rating, and that moves dense waste effectively. We'll be looking for a larger trapway. Trapway line size can range from about 2 inches up to almost 3 inches. And as well, you're going to be looking for something that has an antimicrobial coating that's going to prevent any sort of buildup of stains that may affect the look. and lead to more regular cleaning. We want to reduce the maintenance costs, and an EverClean or antimicrobial coating will prevent any store stains and help the bowl have a more effective scour. Then we enter the water consumption conversation. And that pushes us really to our main recommendation, which is the Vormax toilet. It's the most effective scour of a bowl in tank type at a ultra low flow flush volume. These can get, I believe, down to 3.8 liters per flush, although the 4.8 liters per flush is more of a standard. However, if we're trying to both be water conservative as well as effective in our scour and waste removal, then there are some options out there. Tank type will be quieter than a flush valve style, so that is one of the pieces that is commonly brought up. However, flush valve does come back up into the conversation because it will have a better line carry and an even more reliable flush than even the best tank type units. There's a lot of power in the flush valve style, which helps remove the debris reliably, and it does not rely upon the user to activate if we go with a sensor operated design. And quite commonly when I'm doing long-term care projects, we'll end up either presenting multiple options to the engineer so that they can bring that up to their owner and then kind of pare it down. And frankly, we'll have a lot of revisions along the way where maybe we start up at a concealed hardwired, like we're showing with this flush valve, the the 152 ESS from Sloan. A concealed flush valve might be the starting point, but it's also one of the more expensive options. And if we're going with a wall hung bowl, then all of a sudden we enter the wall space discussion. So it's common that we'll see revisions over time. Now, when we're talking about flush valve, that really comes down to an owner or user preference. If we are looking at it, then the Sloan Royal, concealed with a small wall box and our true mechanical override, is certainly our most frequently specified product for this application. And again, it's with a good reason. But you should get direction on the mounting. Do they want concealed or exposed? Do they have hardwired opportunities, or are they looking more for battery powered or even power harvesting options, or just with a manual version? And then we enter that same flow rate discussion, because as I mentioned in the tank type portion, these can range from a 6 liter to 4.8 liter down to the 4.2 or a 1.1 gallon per flush. So the earlier in the design process that we can raise this question or provide the options and get the revisions is always the better. There's certainly been a number of times, heck, last week, I had an engineer that was doing a last minute revision, and they had to go from a flush valve wall hung style to a floor mounted tank type with both a bottom outlet and a back outlet design. So those revisions do come up, but we try to get ahead of it as much as possible. And then you can find these products on the ATS spec tool and get the documents to review with your owner. So when combining other manufacturers, the industry does try to standardize around 4.8 liters per flush. However, if we are pursuing a lead V4, there are lower flows available now. This has come up pretty regularly over the last year, where we frequently are seeing people trying to get below that 4.8 liters per flush or 1.28 gallons per flush baseline. So now that the products have been around for a few years, Sloan, other manufacturers do have your 1.1 or your 4.2 liter per flush available in a variety of installation types. So we can meet all of our basic formats: concealed, exposed, manual, hardwired battery, with those ultra low flow options. However, I would still recommend trying to get to the 4.8 simply for the reliability of the scour. Some of the other features to call out: small wall box is nice because it is a smaller compared to the larger version. This is a 13.5 by 13.5, whereas a larger version would be 13.5 by about 18. This still allows you to service the valve from the front, which is a critical piece, as long-term care is not going to have a person access chase that would allow you to service the flush valve. So you do need to consider service from the front. The true mechanical override is a great feature, as if there is a power outage, it allows a mechanical push button, not a sensor activated or solenoid activated push button, which would still flush the toilet. Now, most importantly, with Sloan, the Royal diaphragm is the most reliable and long lasting on the market, as a durable Permex rubber and true dual filter bypass that prevents sediment from affecting the flush. The Permex rubber interacts and has a longer life expectancy with harsh water conditions, and the dual filter bypass prevents the most common issue of sediment affecting your flush. Sloan also uses a high copper, low zinc brass casing, which again, if there is more aggressive water conditions, will have a longer life expectancy. Long-term care very regularly is looking for a product that is going to last the longest and have a great quality customer service in case there is issues along the lines. With that service in mind, we're highlighting the Santaco 500 STS-CC with the important final suffix there of FE. The FE is for the fasten lock system, which is a newer mounting system launched a couple years ago. And essentially, other manufacturers will have similar, they'll call it stay tight or something like that. But this is certainly the longest lasting installation and covers the maintenance team's #1 issue, which is a loose toilet seat. I've seen these and I've personally had them installed for a couple of years at my place, and it absolutely does the job and keeps a secure toilet seat. The other option that this product has is the antimicrobial coating. The antimicrobial coating, similar to that on the toilet, is going to reduce stains and prevent any sort of buildup of debris. Now, for the barrier-free, we are recommending a backrest here, because if we're pairing this with a sensor-activated flush valve, we have to be conscious of the location of that sensor. Barrier-free will require, at least in most places in Canada, in the US, it's a different standard. But in Canada, we're going to be looking for back support of some kind. This could be accomplished with a seat with cover, and you could use an 820 with that same fasten lock system. However, the seat with cover will regularly have conflicts with the sensor. It's possible to avoid it, but the most reliable way to avoid those installation issues is with a seat with seat open front and the backrest itself. Keep in mind when selecting your backrest, if you do go with a exposed flush valve, be conscious of the depth from the wall to that cover so that it extends and goes around the flush tube. So circling back to the original point that I brought up of discussions that need to be had with the owner and presenting a variety of options early on in the phase. The patient area basin has a number of points that you're going to want to get clarity on. What type of mounting do they have? What level of infection control do they need? Are they wanting an overflow on the lav or no? Do they want a residential feel or in a more sleek looking under counter style? And just as a general note, we do typically see all of these areas following barrier-free design. So that's going to limit our options depending on what province we're in or what state we're in and what code we're coming to. What's nice is that our online system does have the barrier-free toggle that'll allow you to simply see the appropriate barrier-free options based on your location across North America. But it's important to get all these questions answered because there's a lot of different ways you could go with these product selections. And some of those questions are going to affect the basin itself or the faucet. These days, we're lucky enough to have multiple wall hung options that meet barrier-free design across Canada. If they want a higher end look to set their long-term care residences apart from lower cost options, then we might look away from the standard Miro that we're seeing here and look more towards a decorum with more strong edges and sharp corners. Still rounded, not a hazard, but a stronger looking design. Still, the Miro shown on the right is our most specified product for this application due to the price point, due to the variety of shrouds that are available, due to the features that are available, like the variety of hole punchings and the sealed overflow option. These labs also have an ever-clean coating that I mentioned previously as a bit of a recurring theme, as I'm sure you're starting to notice. Another common approach is looking towards a semi-counter installation. And for that, we'll be looking at the Mezzo. This has an approachable rounded front that overhangs the counter and has a bit of a nice look. There's room on the ledge, similar to the Miro, so that a user could easily place some personal items. And again, we're trying to marry effective code-based design with a more pleasant user experience. These same features are available within the Cadet Universal Access, which is another option. And importantly, all of these labs have a variety of hole punching, as I mentioned. So you could have a center hole only design if you're looking at a sensor operated faucet, or a 4 or 8 inch centers for a manual faucet. And we can show you later on how you'll be able to set up your firm's personal long-term care standard and master with whatever basins are your go-tos, so that when you have your next long-term care project, all you have to do is copy and paste and update a couple of selections. So faucet-wise, well, there are a variety of manual faucets available that would fit these labs. We are going to spend more time focusing and discussing the electronic sensor faucets. If your go-to facilities are leaning more towards the manual, I'll be happy to have a separate kind of one-on-one or small group discussion with your team to help you get a master setup if need be. Most facilities that we've had help spec have switched to or are asking for retrofits to switch to a sensor operated design. This minimizes touch points in all locations. So the EAF 225 shown on the top right here has been a top specified product for years. Has a nice rounded design and also a number of important features. It's not just the aesthetics that we're looking at. We're looking to marry aesthetics with important features that help protect the users. With that note, we often see the integrated side mixer included, and this would allow a user to have some temperature setting ability. They can get cold or hot water, and the hot water can even be limited to a set point, which will prevent scalding. Preventing scalding is really one of the key focuses here, whether you are looking at manual or electronic. Having a 1070 approved thermostatic protection is paramount to make sure that we don't have a scalding risk. And there's a number of faucets now that have that integrated ASCII 1070 thermostatic protection within the faucet. This prevents scalding and prevents unsightly and hard to clean spaghetti that lies below the basin, making for an easier and cleaner installation. So here's a cutaway of that e-tronic 80 faucet that was just shown in the bottom right. More and more, we are seeing this trend towards above deck servicing, the ability to just pop off the top and access your solenoid or access the 1070 compliant thermostatic mixing valve, as we noted. With this model, you can use what they call the commander unit to adjust the temperature and help with your installation. It'll help you set your sensor range, and it'll also give tracking information. Say you're using a battery model. There's a variety of manufacturers that have some sort of usage tracking, so you know when those batteries might need to be replaced. These faucets are also available with a variety of outlet options. So your owner can decide on flow rate and whether or not they prefer laminar flow, which would be a pretty commonly selected option. A laminar flow is going to reduce splashing and prevent, kind of lean towards your infection prevention and control. Circling back to that discussion, the questions that you should ask and get familiar with your owner group right off the top is that level of infection control. We see everything from healthcare grade laminar flow at the base of the spout, goosenecks that avoid the drain, to maybe call it in IPAC intent, where it's a laminar outlet, and this faucet actually has laminar outlet available at 0.5 GPM, so you can get low flow as well as provide that infection control. And it's also important to note that this concealed mixing valve inside the faucet, it's not proprietary technology. It might have been when it launched, but these days you can certainly get 3 names and numbers, so you're not hard speccing anything. American Standard also has a line of these faucets, which again focus on the above deck access. They have a variety of flow rates and that side mixer feature. So you can meet all your design parameters while providing 3 names and numbers for a competitive project opportunity. And I think in the near future, you'll be able to have multiple of these added as an alternative on the spec tool themselves. These protect the user while allowing them temperature control to get the water to their preference. Ultimately, this provides a more enjoyable living experience for the user in the long-term care facility, so that they have a more pleasant stay. There's a quick video here. I'm always cautious about videos, but I think that this is a good one to highlight some of the aspects that we're talking about with the integrated temperature control. Very simple premise. You have a little side mixer there that controls the amount of hot and cold inside of a chamber. It's a lever handle, so it complies with ADA. And there you see they're highlighting the temperature sensing area. The key with a number of these is that there is a wax element which is going to expand when your temperature increases and contract when the temperature decreases. It reacts to the temperature in your water. This allows them to have a 110 safety shutoff so that we're never getting to the point of scalding, especially with a more elderly demographic. The potential for scalding is a higher risk, and minimizing that is paramount to these owner groups. So moving out of the patient washroom area, let's spend some time discussing the bathing solutions. So Rebecca, keep an eye. I don't know if there's any questions that come in from that patient washroom area, but we can circle back if need be. So there will most likely be an assisted bathing area on site, as well as everything from personal showers to therapeutic tubs. So starting with their shower area, we have seen a trend towards a more stylish finish. Using these shower floors with a linear drain provides a little bit of a nicer aesthetic, as well as meeting our code aspects of having the drain area. More importantly, in my opinion, is that terrazzo is a durable and naturally non-slip surface. Slips and falls while bathing can be demeaning to the user as well as physically damaging. These floors are important in preventing that. They're also very customizable in sizing. Well, of course, we have to meet the minimum for barrier-free code is our mandatory baseline. There are additional options, larger width, different bevels, different looks and finishes. And this includes looking at the threshold to the entry and the overall size. And I'm going to get into a couple of specifics here. I mentioned for those of you that joined us early that Natalia Ramos, our market development for part of my market development team, is on the call. She's really one of our code experts in this area and spent a lot of time getting additional training. So if you have a detailed follow-up questions, we'll certainly be happy to cover them. But as a general guideline for OBC and the BC building code, we're looking to not have less than 1,500 millimeters, 59.1 inches wide by 900 millimeters deep, have a threshold level with the adjacent finished floor, or a beveled threshold not more than 13 millimeters higher than the adjacent finished floor. And in BC particularly, where it is higher than 6 millimeters, a beveled to a slope no steeper than 1 2. So there's some very unique parameters there that need to be kept an eye on. And this is where the conversation from ADA to what is my local code because a number of products do advertise their ADA size. In Canada, we do have to be diligent about this, particularly in shower areas. So if you would like help and a second set of eyes to ensure that you're getting the accurate selection, Natalia, Mo, myself, Mel, and Phil in the US, certainly we're happy to lend a hand in the product selection and provide a detailed code discussion if you would like. So within the shower, we often see more controls than normal. The Acorn line has been a standard here for a long time and is a very durable valve with reliable performance, has a little bit more of a, call it an institutional look. It meets many of the barrier-free requirements. It has to be operable with a closed fist and other aspects. But there's other ways of getting that now. And we do see a bit of a trend towards a more of a higher aesthetic design again, which is where our American standard options are great. They have a variety of looks and finishes available. And the key theme that we see regularly is both a handheld device, typically mounted on a compliant grab/slide bar, as well as the wall-mounted shower head. You would need an additional diverter for this, and possibly a three-way diverter if a tub spout or toe tester is being used as well. Flow rate-wise, if your facility is going with the lead design, you will need to use the 1.5 GPM versions for both the shower head and handheld device. And then some of the other components that go along with this to make a complete package would be your shower hose, wall supply, vacuum breaker. And again, one thing that's nice is that the spec tool will walk you through all these selections and put together a fully configured version. Looking at the valve itself and beyond just having a variety of looks, the new American Standard Flash shower valve is a great product that launched a few years ago. They've really spent a long time on R&D and getting in touch with all the stakeholders of the product. So it's not just owner group feedback, it's in feedback from installers and the people putting the product in. Come up with simple features like a flat back, the screw areas that you see there to offer a quicker and easier installation that fits within a smaller wall space. The wall space is really the part that often the engineers and architects care about. This also provides ease of line testing with the pressure cap that's shown. So it comes with the cap installed, so you can put the valve in first, pop that out, put on the actual trim once the walls go up. And this trim will also offer a wider range of the comfort zone temperatures so that you can fine tune the desired temps. And we'll have a short video. Again, fingers crossed. I never trust videos, but I trust Rebecca that it's going to work. Oh, we're popping up huge. Give me a second. I'll get this right. I don't know if the audio is going great. We'll pick it up. But yeah, we have the test cap that allows them to install their plus the any pressure. Install rings. There's the flat back image, so it sits directly on the back wall brace and installs nice and clean. Simple one-piece cartridge that's easy to service and space if needed, but it's durable ceramic cartridge that likely won't need repair, which is ultimate. Variety of connections going with PEX piping. We could provide you with the PEX pipe as well as universal studs and the various PEX points on the valve. It's press connect fittings. This is a nice feature again, thinking of installation time, comes with the 90 elbows so they can flip it one the lines are coming from above or below. Installs in tracks. And peek behind the scenes, hide it quickly. Moving on to the next section, I mentioned that you may need a diverter depending on what you're putting together, what all goes with the package. You may need either a 2 or 3-way diverter. Keep in mind as you're going through it to make sure that you're conscious of whether or not you are selecting 2 discrete functions or 2 shared functions, or similar with the 3 discrete or 3 shared functions. Discrete would be operating your handheld only and then your shower head only. Shared function would allow you to operate both at the same time, which may affect your pressure. So keep in mind that we have to still deliver the amount of pressure to have a positive washing experience. But this will allow you the on-off control to trigger water to either option. Similar with the flash valve itself, the diverter valve can come with a variety of trim finishes to match the look that you're looking for. Now, the key differentiating aspect of a long-term care shower area and versus a typical shower area in, say, a community center or rec facility is the fact that the user often is having an assisted shower. The staff there will be assisting with the experience for safety and for cleanliness. And the BC, and OBC simply call out the area must have a hinged seat other than a spring-loaded hinge seat or a fixed seat that shall be not less than 450 millimeters wide and 400 millimeters deep while carrying a minimum load of 1.3 kilonewtons, 293 pounds. So that's our minimum. But again, this is an area where an owner may want to differentiate themselves. The Press-Lit Care shower seat shown in the top right allows staff to adjust the seat vertically, and some models even horizontally. These can be done pneumatically or electronically. So with the push of the button, the staff could be adjusting the seat so that the resident and staff are both having a more comfortable experience. It's, again, going towards minimizing slips and falls, both for the staff in this case, as well as the user, providing a better experience. So this may be something to, again, bring up as a way of going above and beyond the bare minimum. Looking at therapeutic tubs, ATS and our partners do have a few options available from the American Standard line. However, admittedly, there may be a more specific tub request coming from your owner group. In this case, there's often a specialist company that already has a relationship with the owner group, and they should be giving that info to you. In the case where they need an option from you as the designer, then these American Standard walk-in tubs are a great option. It's perfect for a retrofit application, as it does fit within a typical tub footprint, and allows the user to sit in the tub and experience air or water jets, and even chromotherapy with some soothing lights. We were having a discussion earlier on, joking about me getting older with my birthday recently and needing my aging in place options soon. I'm still in my mid-30s, so I'm not quite there yet. But these are a great product for aging in place, more targeted towards that demographic, because again, it does fit in that existing footprint and provides a user a more customizable experience, but it doesn't quite get to the same level as some of the therapeutic tubs that would be more specialized. So keep that in mind, but it is good to know that it's there. One of the keys of this particular product is the quick drain. Having a user sit in a tub that is emptying slowly can quickly make them cold. So the quick drain allows the tub to be evacuated in a short time span and allows the staff to get them dried off faster. Honestly, again, these are specialty items, and when they come to your project, we can discuss them in a lot more detail to make sure that you get the exact version that's required for your site and for your owner. So we're going to walk through a number of the other accessories here very quickly, because I just took a look at the time and we have a bunch to cover today. I will try to get it in quickly, but we may end up running a little bit older or need to break into a second session. Key thing to keep in mind here as we're blazing through is that we are looking to minimize our touch points. We're selecting reliable, low maintenance product that meets our barrier-free code for all these products. Many of the code-related aspects pertain to location, and for a deep dive into those codes, feel free to reach out to me and we'll get Natalia, our architectural specialty and code expert, to lend a hand and set up a barrier-free presentation for you. This can be customized to your province as well. So for OBC, a soap dispenser must operate automatically or is operable using a closed fist. with a force not more than 22.2 newtons or 5 pounds. That Newton line is going to come up regularly across multiple fixture categories. There's location details as well, not more than 1100 millimeters above the finished floor and within 500 millimeters from the front of the lavatory. Looking at some of the other accessories and our drying solutions now, our towel dispenser other than or other hand drying equipment that is operable with one hand, dispensing height not more than 1200 millimeters above the finished floor and located not more than 610 millimeters measured horizontally from the edge of the lavatory. With that location, there's a couple of options that we're showing here, both with the trash and without. And of course, hand drying solutions certainly available from Bobrick. They have a wide variety that would fit. Looking into our grab bars, they have the vinyl coated grab bars. We've got straight grab bars. These have a peened slip resistant surface. So for OBC, you can look at fold down or swing up grab bar is only required when the water closet is located so that the transfer space is, there is a clear transfer space at least 900 millimeters wide and 1500 millimeters deep is provided on each side of the water closet. So again, some very specific details. We can grab these and more info for you. The part I'm going to focus on here is the peen grab bar and the variety of distances that we do have. For the additional details, we'll circle back to a greater discussion. 90-degree grab bars are also available in a variety of lengths, have the same features, and do comply with our accessible design standards. Looking into chain tables, this is a growing category, especially in the US. I'm not sure if we have our friends from the US on the call. I know I've been largely talking Canadian codes and standards, but I know ADA is updating some of their adult change table standards, and these are going to be required in a variety of locations very soon. I think we've got a piece coming on that in a couple of weeks or later this month. For OBC, you're required to have a clear space not less than 810 millimeters wide and 1830 millimeters long in each universal washroom. Their adjustable height required from 450 minimum to 900 maximum, and required to carry a minimum load of specific kilonewton. Again, we can go through these in more detail. This is again where you may want to differentiate for your owner and help them separate themselves from the competition, help them separate themselves from the other options in the market. Having some of the additional features would allow you to maybe retain staff and have a more positive staff experience, as these will be in assisted areas. That finishes up our fixture section. And we do have some of the more mechanical solutions included in here as well that we want to cover in a bit of detail. So again, similar, we can circle back if you have deeper discussions. Jumping into mechanical room topics, we're going to talk about hot water in terms of generation, delivery, tempering, and even removal. So as we mentioned during the faucet portion, preventing scalding is our first and most paramount thought in these applications. The 800 series mixing valve from Lawler has been and continues to be a leader in this category for years. It offers an accurate thermostatic protection at both high and low flow rates with a single valve, which is why it's called the high-low. Other manufacturers did need multiple valves and multiple lines to meet the flow rate of a single fixture while also meeting the high flow rate of a full facility. Now, as technology has advanced, we wanted greater accuracy on the output of temperature, as the critical function of these valves is to provide temperature protection. So electronic set points became the prevalent design. Lawler still uses the 800 series high-low valve in a pre-piped assembly, now with electronic monitoring on the output temp to ensure accurate and efficient water delivery. The pre-pipe solution is great because it minimizes the time on site and comes, as you see on the right, the simple inlet-outlet connection in the contractor is done at a significantly lower price point than some of the other electronic options on the market. Of course, these can as well be monitored on your building management system and will tie into your BACnet program. So if you want a deeper dive into digital mixing, we can certainly set that up for you as well. Highlighting some of the other options on the market, Watts has their version of these digital mixing valves, the IntelliStation, which just like the Lawler version, and the IntelliStation has a more stable output temperature. Watts is offering only a plus or minus 2 degrees and has many configurations to match site conditions, flow rates, and other requirements that you need. In terms of our hot water generation, gas versus electric is going to be an early on design conversation. We do see quite regularly gas still in Ontario, but regardless, you're going to be looking at something with increased storage, because as we're going to get to later in the presentation, the kitchen areas, if present, can very much so affect your design for the flow rates in this type of facility. If there's a food service and prep area on site or dishwashers on each floor, that will drastically affect your dump loads that's required for these projects. With an increased storage in mind, the Cyclone has been one of the top gas-powered units for years. The new MXI version has a higher thermal efficiency rate that lowers our operating costs. And all the Cyclone series, as well as our DVE and DSE series from the electric side, do come with remote monitoring built in, so you can tie these into your VAS systems as well. The LV version, the large volume version of these, is the new Cyclone BTH-L. Again, these range from 150 to 500,000 BTUs, so they deliver a ton of recovery. And now they have a larger storage volume from the 119 base up to 220 and 250 gallons of storage. So even for a large long-term care facility, you may even have one or two of these, or one 220 with a higher BTU for greater recovery, paired with a storage tank, may be the way you go about this as well. Regardless, if you need help sizing and going over your options, reach out to our team. We're happy to lend a hand. We'll walk through the hotwatersizing.com sizing program from A.O. Smith with you, and we can help do takeoffs and appropriately select and size your hot water system. Jumping on to the scale side and the water quality side, due to time, I expected that we weren't going to be able to do a deep dive into all of the water quality products that may be required in this. So we'll just let you know that we did a deep dive version on this recently. It's located in our online ATS University, where the recording will be for this video and that one. You can rewatch it or reach out. I'll be happy to set up a lunch and learn or a product session, a little breakfast session, whatever you like, with your team to go over the details. What's important to note really is the fact that Watts and their water quality program can assist with a wide range of water issues, from heavy metals like lead or iron to feed water requirements for specific equipment like an RO system or anything that may be needed for your dialysis or other machines that they may have on site. And the most basic water quality need would be general softening. Of course, we have a variety of ways that we can help with your water softening. And if you provide us the water quality report, the Watts team will be able to take that in conjunction with your design parameters like your flow rate and your other requirements, and our team will assist with sizing and provide the full water softening solution and package. The other piece I'll highlight here is the water softening is not the only option. We do have the OneFlow anti-scale system as well, which uses a TAC, template assisted crystallization, to affect scale formation and transform hard scale to soft scale. This is not a salt-based system, so there is none of that slippery feeling that does not add salt to the resident's diet, as well as prevent slips and falls. So it's great for certain applications, especially when we're surveying maybe a hard water area for the showers. However, this would not be the best solution for your kitchen areas. So again, we'll go into the details of the project and help we'll build an understanding of what's the most appropriate one, help you size it, and help you select the right one for your application. Looking at submersible pumps, we just did a deep dive again, located on ATS University, of our pumps and sizing. So I'm going to highlight a couple of the options here. Zoller Submersible Pump Company has a variety of solids handling products which would be appropriate for this application. We can go from 3/4 up to 3/4 inch solids in 2 horsepower. We can get up to a 2-inch to 4-inch solids handling unit as well, all the way up to 60 horsepower. So they have a huge range available. We can assist with your sizing if you provide the TDH, your GPM, and any electrical and control limitations. Then we can help size the pump for you. You can see on the image to the right, on the little brass impeller, there's some divots there. That's from the engineered product line and is the trimmed impeller that will meet a specific flow rate and design point head. So these are very customizable to your job, or you can get the base models that are interchangeable. Regardless of whether it's from the engineered products or the baseline, Zoller is a company known for the longevity of their products. You can see it's a durable cast iron through and through, even the fins on the side there. So you're getting great temperature dissipation within the pit, which is going to have a longer motor life expectancy. The other option for this application is looking at our grinder pumps. Grinders do come into this area frequently as debris. The same reason that we're worried about clogs in toilets is the same reason that grinder pumps are often required. Users can be embarrassed that something happens, flush something that shouldn't be flushed, and a grinder pump will take care of that with ease. So their grinder pumps are the top in the industry. They were one of the first and one of the only to have a reversible grinding pump as well, fully reversible. It's a heavy duty, that same cast iron construction, including the fins. They're not welded on after, so they're getting longer life expectancy. And these can be automatic or manual, and they can be paired with the new Pivot Pro pump panels. That's a mouthful that we went over last month in our Zoller webinar. Looking into how we get water to those pumps through our drainage lines. The Watts line offers a huge variety of products. One of the things that we love about the Watts drain line is the interchangeability. You can see, from the FD100FC here, which has our surface membrane clamp at the top in case there's a membrane flooring unit used, as well as a lower membrane clamp. And it's the same body for both the 100 CA, which is your base floor drain strainer, versus your FC. So they're interchangeable. And this is true for your cleanouts as well. This is true for your square strainers as well. So you're using a similar floor drain body with interchangeable top assemblies. The floor drain body has a epoxy coating that lasts longer, has great protection for the drain. You're not going to get a couple years down the road and have rusting and pitting. You can see the trap primer connection, standard feature. One thing I would note is, take note of where the membranes are in your flooring. If you only have the surface membrane, then you may be looking for like an FD200, where you just have the 200 FC with the surface membrane clamp and a poured bed that it sits in. Looking at more of our area drains, the 460 is a great option. There's the area drain for outdoor parking areas as well, which is an all aluminum body for Canadian applications. All of these are in that template, so you'd be able to select the ones that meet your master and make sure that you have things like your 320 included in your standard, which would be your mechanical room drain, 8-inch heavy duty top assembly, long lasting, and available with funnels in case you need the funnel floor drains. Looking at our roofing areas, they again specialize in all the drainage. So you can see some of the newer models that have come out with the combination roof drains, where you've got your overflow and the roof drain standard right there. Your RD100, again, they focus on an interchangeable design. So if you do require the AccuTrol, you're using a flow control roof drain all of a sudden, it'd be the same body with the AccuTrol weir. very interchangeable. Again, our masters include a variety of your standard, your conventional roof drain with the flow control, your inverted roof drain, where you may have a lower membrane below the insulation, or your inverted roof drain with flow control. We have our ATS recommendations where we recommend like the cast iron dome, but of course a more budget-friendly plastic dome could be available as well. It just would not have the same life expectancy. Looking into our kitchen areas, full line of products available for a kitchen area. We do a ton of commercial restaurants as well, but for a standard long-term care kitchen, you're going to be looking more towards a more refined selection. You're not going to have the breadth of a typical commercial kitchen, but you'll be looking for scullery sinks. And Frankie has single, double, triple scullery sinks with side ledges, without side ledges, different dimensions. You can have 18 or 24 inch. One thing I would note is always look for the standpipe drain so that you don't have to reach in to remove the crumb cup. These will be paired with your pre-rinse faucet, the 527 series pre-rinse faucet. These are available wall mounted, back deck mounted, with the 8-inch center sets, with a center hole only, with or without an adjustable spout, so you can have a swing spout as well. And very similar product available everywhere. Looking at our drainage, we actually just booked our Blue presentation coming up in June, where you can learn more about the stainless steel drainage line. But the Hygienic Pro Drain and Channel is a trench drain designed for commercial kitchens. I've seen it in breweries, in pharmaceutical, in food prep warehouses. It has a high flow capacity, and we'll skip the video, but you'll have more detail on later. It's got a specific design which includes a bit of a thin channel on the bottom that prevents buildup of debris and really allows for a higher flow capacity and prevents any sort of blockage or bacterial growth from standing water or product that is left behind. It evacuates the channel faster than anything else on the market. One thing to consider is if you're putting in your scullery, you will be looking to get a grease interceptor. These are required by code in a number of provinces. And if you need help getting it together, we are here to lend a hand. The Watts line has adjustable extensions, different top assembly thicknesses. So if you need an extra heavy duty because they've got pneumatic trucks or pulleys going over it, then you can do that. Most often you'll see a smaller one that's kind of on a 1-to-1 standard. But if you do have the larger commercial kitchen, you may be looking at a larger volume unit. Finishing off here on our service closet. People think service closet, they just think the mop sink. However, you may have a hand wash sink in there, especially post-COVID. We've seen more small wall hung basins or a small counter mounted basin sink inside that service area. This will allow hand washing for the maintenance staff. It'll allow for washing of any chemicals as well. Beyond just the mop sink, it'll have a lower flow, so we're saving flow rate, or saving water, saving the world. On the mop sink side, the SB900 is a 12 by 12, 12 inch tall, 24 by 24, available with the side panels. Personally, again, I recommend the aluminum caps to prevent any sort of maintenance issues long term. These are built rugged, but with rugged use can still chip. So having the cap on there will lend a hand and prevent issues along the line. They do have customizable drain options. This has come up a couple of times where maybe they're retrofitting, they're putting in a mop sink, but they don't have the space below for a drain. This will allow you to have a moved drain to a corner with a quick 90, so it can go above the floor if need be. With your faucet, making sure you have the vacuum breaker and the hose end spout. One important note when we're talking about lead, your mop sink, your service sinks, they often do not get included in your lead flow rate packages. So keep that in mind. Quite regularly, we'll be told that we have to change this. It's available. It's not recommended. A mop bucket takes up the same amount of time to fill, whether it is at or takes up the same volume of water, but a lower flow rate is just taking up more time. Lastly, in these service areas, especially because there is often aggressive cleaners in long-term care facilities, an eye wash, whether it's wall mounted or counter mounted with that sink, or even simply a drench hose that is wall mounted and can be held over the service sink, is a great idea, providing a higher degree of care for your staff. Finally, on specialty equipment, airtight, watertight access doors available through for all sorts of different applications from AccuDoor. You may not need to go up to the airtight, watertight access for this type of application. It's probably a higher healthcare level, but they have access doors that will hide within the wall, fire rated, ceiling mounted for recessed panels applications as well. It's not just your baseline budget, plastic or light metal that's half falling off the wall. There are good options out there that can meet your design criteria and keep a quality look to the facility. We'll be happy to provide more detail on that. Dialysis box, we're going to be covering in a few weeks in more detail. We're showing a 2-valve box here, but Acorn's recently launched a new model that also includes their trap seal primer and backflow, and all in one stop. A little bit larger box, but it's single point of connection. Great new product. We're going to cover more details shortly. And your roof hatches, if you require these, they do. AccuDoor recently launched the RHA thermally broken. This is aluminum, 1/8 inch thick in thermal break design, a non-conductive material with low conductivity, a full thermal break for to meet your installation requirements. Finishing off, how ATS can help when designing long-term care. Obviously, we've got a lot of product experience. As I went over in this presentation, there's a lot more product on our site than we even covered today. It's amazing how much there is these days. Automated and touchless solutions, easy to clean surfaces for your patient areas, and focusing on comfortable temperatures and range of flow rates while preventing any scalding. Mechanical solutions that, again, prevent scalding, the number one point in case it doesn't come across, but also smart controls, equipment that ties into your BAS, equipment that reduces your need for callbacks and maintenance, equipment that installs faster and minimizes time on site, as well as specialty drainage solutions where required. Looking at our janitor's office and the janitor's closet, the service closet, environmentally friendly products in case you do have a hand wash area, better to wash with a lower flow rate than the high flow of the mop sink. Product materials that prevent stains, and emergency equipment if there is a need for it due to the chemicals in the area. Finishing off, I'll pass this over to you, Rebecca, because I've been going for a while and I see people are dropping off. So I will say a quick thank you before we finish up. Hopefully you got something out of this presentation. I appreciate you spending the time with us. And if you have any follow-up questions, I'll be happy to deep dive any of the particular products we talked about today. Rebecca, would you please outline these new wonderful templates?
Sure. So Zach did cover a lot, and there's still probably more we could have talked about. If you are working on a long-term care facility, we've created these templates. So if you visit www.atspectool.com/templates, what you'll find, that one in the middle says long-term care facility template, and underneath it, we've actually already made it available for you to download either our submittal, our schedule, so fixture schedule, accessory schedule. Zach, you can download the documents, or you can click on Start a Live Project. And what it'll do is you can choose the products from that template and put it into your own project, making it easier for you, not to necessarily start from scratch, but start from, we'll give you a starting point we'll go into a little bit more in-depth detail about how to use templates, and you see 3 on the screen here, but in the ATS spec tool, I think you're looking at probably, I think now we're at like 14 or 15 templates that kind of represent some of the key verticals that you've been using the ATS spec tool for. So education, healthcare, commercial buildings, high traffic areas like airports and malls. So we just want to make it easier for you to get a project started. And like Zach mentioned, next week we have, Zach, you want to go next slide? We will be talking about another webinar where we talk about the newest inspect tool, and we'll be talking about those templates. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, if you have a specific project that you need help with, feel free to use our live chat. We have a book a demo area where we can help you build your project, or these lovely faces are local in your market to help you answer any specific questions that you have on product. Or to help you design your next project.
So I think being conscious of time, we'll stop quickly for questions. We could still run a quick intro to the templates for anyone that does wish to stick around. Otherwise, if you have any questions, happy to answer them now. Do you want me to quick sharing, and then you can walk through a quick overview of the template feature?
Sure, I'll show what's on the website for now. So if you're on the ATS spec tool and you click under architects and engineers, you'll have templates. From there, what you'll be able to do is under downloads, you can choose to download, like I said, the fixture schedule, a written specification, or review the submittals. Simply click on Canada if you're based in Canada, US if you're based in the US. And what'll happen is you'll download something like this, where the big front page will explain to you how to use the templates and spec tool. But other than that, you'll get the same documents that you're used to downloading off of the ATS spec tool, but just covering all the products that we would recommend for this specific application of long-term care facilities.
And then
next week,
you can copy them into a live project as well, customize them to suit, like we mentioned, if your firm specializes in lead projects and you want to make them all ultra low flow, you could then revise our template to more accurately suit your particular preferences.
The button there will take you right into a long-term care template. You can literally pick the products that you want, copy to, and put it into a project that you already have in the ATS spec tool.
And you could also hit the new button there in the bottom middle to start a new project if you don't have one already set up.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, we're going to be walking through this in a lot more detail next week. So that was why I was allowed to, Rebecca told me I was allowed to run on a little bit long, which I don't need permission to ever talk longer when I'm talking about my favorite products. But thank you all very much for joining us today. Hope you got some good detail out of the conversation. If you do have any more detailed conversation or questions, again, we're happy to reach out. We're happy to provide firm-specific advice or project-specific advice. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you soon.